Welcome everyone to tonight's edition of Dead Talk Live. I'm your host Viz from Walking Dead Now. Tonight, as you can see right above me, we are being joined by our show's official contributor and someone who I very lovingly refer to as the human Wikipedia of all things The Walking Dead. Saz Chick, who we all better know as Saz. Saz is joining us all the way from the UK, where it's currently just past 2:30 in the morning. So thank you for joining us, Saz.
No problem.
Our broadcast every night is simultaneously live streamed to YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, starting at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We want to welcome all our first-time viewers as well as our regular viewers. We hope you can stay with us for the next hour and participate in our discussion. If you enjoy our broadcast, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is called Walking Dead Now, as well as our podcast called Stay Walking. For more information on us, please visit our website located at deadtalklive.com. Our producer Marko is going to be handling the text chats, while I will be talking to you guys live on the air. So how's everyone doing tonight? Everyone doing well? Everyone good? I'm having a little trouble bringing up the Instagram feed.
I was just trying that.
So we have the YouTube people up. You know what, guys? I may have to redo the Instagram thing. So hold on one second here. I see Hard Productions. Toby's joining us.
Hey.
Hope all you guys are well tonight. Of course, we're having technical difficulties. So just bear with us here one second as I fix that. My apologies. We had some lighting issues just before we went on.
Hey, Hub Productions. Hey, Summer. Hey, Toby. It's Nerdy Geek. Hello. Thank you for joining us.
All right, guys. Just a few more seconds, and I'll have everybody here with us.
We can all join the party then.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Save. Alright. We should have our Instagram peeps with us. Let's see if the feed comes up. Hey, Instagram people. Sorry, we were having a little bit of technical difficulties. But we have everybody now up in the party here. Hey, Maya. Hi, T1. Hey, Nerdiest Geek. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being patient. Like I said, I was having a little bit of technical difficulties, but as you can see, Saz is joining me tonight.
Hey, guys.
And Zombika37. So, yeah, we have, you guys missed it. You guys all know Saz. She's been with us for a very, very long time. Official contributor on our show. What I call the human Wikipedia on all things The Walking Dead. And Marko says, hey, Saz, thank you for staying up so late. It is 2:30 in the morning in the UK right now. So, yes, thank you very much for agreeing to stay up and join us on our show tonight. You're getting a lot of loves and hearts on Instagram. And we have all our regular people here from YouTube, Hard Productions, Toby, Summer. Hey, Summer. Miss Nerdy Geek is joining us. I was going to say that it doesn't say you are live on Instagram. Yes, I fixed that. Yes. Summer also writes, Saz, what's up, girl? What's the weather like over there?
Hey,
what is
girl.
the weather like over there, Saz?
It's been lovely, actually, surprisingly. It's nice and sunny, and sod's law, we can't go out. So just stay in the garden.
We're all quarantined. Hard Production writes, hey, Viz, did you see that comment on my video you reposted that said something about cops killing and was making them into heroes? I saw a lot of I saw some of the earlier comments, Hard Productions. I saw the one comment where someone said about your video that this ain't too far from the reality. And Saz, what's going on here in the U.S. right now? Things are pretty crazy. I don't know if you've been watching the
Yeah,
news,
same.
but it's pretty chaotic what's going on, and it's scary. And I did repost Hard Productions' awesome Rick Grimes video.
Oh, I loved it.
Thank you for allowing me to
Brilliant.
do that. And my apologies, Hard Productions, for it taking so long for me to do that. But I did it last night, and it was It was well over 3,600 views just before we went live tonight. So yeah, somebody posted that the craziness that in your video compilation of Rick Grimes, and how we're not too far away from that in real life. And he wasn't kidding either. So Summer needs to watch it. Yeah, Summer, you gotta watch it. It's on Hard Productions YouTube channel. I reposted it on my YouTube channel, my Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. It's an amazing video. People loved it. People love it. So yeah, Summer, go ahead and check that out. So, let's go to a little bit of announcements here. I want to let you guys know that your prizes, all our contest winners' prizes, have been officially picked up by the United States Post Office, except for two. And this really upset me, and I want to share it with you guys. I was able to create shipping labels for everyone, through the U.S. Post, except for two of our very long time and loyal viewers, Ismail, who lives in Morocco, and Khalid, who lives in Tunisia. Now, according to the United States Post, there's no available service in those two countries. And that really upset me. And I did contact them both last night to let them know what was going on and to reassure them that one way or another, I am going to get them their prizes. Whether, it means me going to the post office physically, or me going to FedEx, or whatever third-party shipper I'm going to go to. You guys are going to get your action figures. So just rest assured, and I thank you for your patience and your understanding, to both Ismail and to Khalid. Yes, Aliza Jones 71 writes FedEx, exactly, FedEx. Bubbles 043 is joining us. Zavala 25 is joining us on Instagram. Maya 15 asks, do you guys work with the actors? No, we don't work with the actors.
The closest I've got
did have
is working.
Oh, go on.
Sorry, I was just going to say the closest I've got to The Walking Dead itself. I was a scare actor for an amusement park over here, quite a big amusement park, and they did the year of The Walking Dead.
Wow.
So I was a scare actor in one of The Walking Dead mazes. So that's the closest I've got.
That's pretty cool. But Maya, no, we don't directly work with the actors. We were blessed enough last Thursday to have Michael Cudlitz, who plays Abraham, give us an exclusive interview on our show. That was episode 34, so if you want to go back and check that out. And we're trying to line up some more interviews with cast and crew and so on from The Walking Dead. Aliza Jones 71 writes, hi Saz, hope you have coffee tonight.
Yes, yeah, I need to keep the eyes open.
So what do you guys think of Saz's setup back there with the Negan backdrop and Daryl pillows? What do you guys think about that? I think that is so awesome. Give her lots of hearts on Instagram and on YouTube if you guys love that backdrop. That's the first thing I noticed when I called her right before the show. It's like, wow, that is amazing. That is just kick ass. Marko loves it.
Oh, thank you.
Nerdiest Geek loves it. Aliza Jones 71 need alpha. Kimmy 21 writes, yummy. Maya writes, I have a Walking Dead bed cover on. It's got Rick and Norman on it. Awesome. Zambika writes, pretty cool.
To have Rick
yeah,
and Daryl, on your bed. There you go.
Lester Avo on Instagram says hello. Hello, Lester. Cortisol 19. When is the next episode of The Walking Dead? We don't know. I wish I could tell you, but we just don't know. Kai on Instagram is giving us a big smiley love face. So, anyway, moving on to more announcements. Tomorrow, guys, just a reminder, we'll be appearing on the Gypsy Road YouTube channel on their show. It starts at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and there is a link in the description of tonight's episode if you guys want to tune in for that. So, our topic tonight, we're going to get to it in a little bit. We're going to be discussing basically at what different points did Rick earn the loyalty of his fellow group members and characters. For every character, it was a different event, a different moment where Rick earned their trust. We're going to touch upon Carol. And would you agree, Saz, that it took Carol well into season 3 before she really started to trust Rick?
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but again, with just Rick in general, how he progressed from season 1 right up to when he left. Just the things that he's had to do and the choices that he's had to make. It's kind of like, well, what would you do in that situation? Can we say it's a right thing? Can we say it's the wrong thing? Like, what would you do kind of in that situation?
Exactly. Yeah. And like I said, for every different character that was in his group, it was a different moment or a different action that he slowly won the loyalty and trust of everybody, and even though he never asked them to follow him, they did all end up following him and his leadership. Now, I read an interesting article, again, before I went online today, and this goes back into Michonne's last episode. This was brought up by a Reddit user, and we all remember Michonne's final episode, and we all remember when she picks up that, to me, it looks like an old iPhone, where she saw the sketching of Rick and what is Judith. But when I first saw that scene live, I thought it was Michonne and Carl. Okay, I didn't realize right away that it was Judith that he drew. And the fans pointed out a really interesting point, that picture of Judith is what Judith looks like in the present day and moment.
Yeah.
Which leads us to ask, well, how does he know what Judith looks like? Exactly. And that also brings me back to, Aliza Jones writes, I think it was Carl, I think you mean? No, it's not. It's not Carl. If you look back and you pause it on that picture, it is Judith. Kimmy writes, I don't think he drew it. Maybe he didn't, but those were his boots. Zambika writes, I really think they followed him because of his history of being a policeman, like a safe feeling. Plus, he's hot. Yes, that's always a good reason to follow somebody, Zambika. If he's hot, he's gonna save your life. Or at least Zambika, he's good eye candy at the very least. But going back to that whole Judith and Michonne picture, it is Judith. It's not Carl. How does Rick know what Judith looks like in the present day and time? And that just leads me back to what I mentioned a while ago, that I really do feel that Rick did, during this missing 7 years, did actually go back to Alexandria in incognito just to check up on them. Now, as to the reason why he didn't reveal himself or announce his presence to Michonne, Judith, and everybody else, well, that's for the movies to explain. I mean, how do you explain Judith being drawn on that
Yeah.
iPhone? You know, I mean, how does he know what she looks like? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you have any theories?
To be honest, I thought it was Carl again when I first watched the episode. But aren't there some symbols as well that was written on?
Yes.
I can't remember.
The right beside the pictures, but I did see somebody captured a still frame of the shop and posted it, and we were all fooled into thinking it was Carl because of the sheriff's hat, right? But it's not. It's actually a girl wearing the sheriff's hat, Rick's old hat, with long hair. It's Judith. It's Judith. Yeah, that's a little Easter egg right there. It was Judith. And I guess it went under the radar for a while. Obviously, you didn't pick up on it.
No.
I didn't pick up on it. I don't know if anybody else out there picked up on it. But that drawing that Michonne found is of Michonne and Judith. And it leads to the next question. Well, how the hell does Rick know what Judith looks like?
Yeah.
So, very interesting. Very interesting. Just a lot of questions. And I wanted to mention that to you guys because it just, how does he know? You know, it's like, I have no idea. But I think it's just fascinating. Cortisol 19 writes, maybe someone else drew it for him that he knows Judith and Michonne. Maybe. I mean, we don't know. You know? Kimmy writes, Rick had amnesia. Well, we don't know that. We don't know that he has amnesia or not. That's been rumored as a possible thing that he may have in the movies, but as far as facts go, we don't know that at all. Elise also writes, what if he drew it supposing what she would look like? Nah, if he was supposing what she would look like, he did a damn good job.
Yes, spot on.
He did a damn good job. You know, he did a really, really damn good job at predicting what Judith would look like. Because, what, she's 9 now on the show, Saz? You know, how old is she on the show now? I mean, she has to be like
10.
She has to be 9 or 10. So when Rick left, I mean, she was still 3.
Yeah.
And so she's like 9 or 10 right now. So there's no way that he would have guessed it that great, you know, that close to her. So it's just a big question mark out there. It's just a big, big question mark. And another a lot more interesting stuff that I stumbled upon today. I found this great article, Saz. Basically, it's the 10 endearing behind-the-scenes facts about The Walking Dead. Now, a lot of this stuff we already know. Like Norman Reedus is a huge prankster. No big secret there. You know, we all know that him and Andrew Lincoln used to love to prank each other to death.
Yeah.
But did you know that Michonne, all the child actors on the show would call her Mama Michonne?
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
I think that's
cool.
I think that is so adorable. All the child actors, especially Kaylee Fleming, who plays Judith, would call her Mama Michonne.
Aww.
And I thought that was fascinating. Aliza also writes, time jump screws me up on ages.
Yes.
Laughing out loud.
I'm with you there.
Yeah, we're all with you on that one.
Yeah.
You also got to say, Andy can't drive, according to Sarah Wayne.
Yes.
Yeah. I've heard that too. Just going on to these facts, I brought up a picture of. Well, hold on. I did bring up a picture. I want the Mama Michonne picture. So, Saz, if you look on your screen in a couple seconds, you'll see it. There's a picture of Denai Guerrera and Kaylee Fleming
Aw.
under the heading of Mama Michonne. Now, the next picture I think is hysterical that I'm going to show you guys. And this little behind the scenes secret is that Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who plays Negan, he has a Care Bear onesie.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a picture of it. I have a picture of his Care Bear onesie, and there it is. You know, there is JD Morgan wearing his Care Bear onesie. You know, if I didn't see the picture, I would not have believed that. Everyone writes precious, cute. I would not have believed that, you know? Oh, man. Let's look at YouTube. Summer Saz wants to know, who is your favorite Walking Dead character?
Oof, that's a question. I think my three main favourites would have to be obviously Rick, Daryl, and don't hate, I'm sorry, I'm a Negan fan. Yeah, I think
we're all Negan fans now. I think we're all Negan's fans now. We didn't like him back in 7 and 8, but to see
funny.
him drop his yeah, he's funny, he's charismatic, and like I said the other day when somebody asked us the question, if we had to be quarantined with someone, who would it be?
Yeah.
For me, I would pick Negan.
Yeah.
He's funny, he's charismatic. I'd love to be stuck in a place with him. Eliza Joan writes, Samantha Morton, Alpha, and Negan. Okay, so those are your favorite characters, Alpha and Negan. So Eliza likes the bad guys.
I miss Alpha.
She's
crazy,
miss Alpha
but
too. Yeah. She was a couple of apples short of a full fruit basket.
Yeah.
Summer also goes on to write, but Michonne has her old hair, so it can't be a present picture. So maybe Nadia draws what she thinks she looks like. Like I said, I mean, Hard Production goes on to say maybe the CRM have like spies in the communities, and they took pictures of Judith and Michonne.
Yeah.
Possible. We know the CRM they've been preparing for years for the fall of mankind, and they were stockpiling on a whole bunch of technology and so on. Hard Productions also writes, people on Talking Dead were talking about the drawing on the phone. Did they realize, Hard Productions, that it was Judith and not Carl? Summer writes, Jadis. Jadis, what, Summer? Jadis is your favorite character? Is that who you're referring to, Summer? As Jadis? Eliza writes, what is an A and a B? Eliza, we discussed that last night and coming up with possible guesses on what an A and a B is. And it's really anyone's guess. An A, the best conclusion we reached is it has something to do with their physical abilities, because we know that the CRM is conducting human experiments on them. So they may have classified people as an A or a B based on what kind of physical condition they're in. And it may have absolutely nothing to do with personality. So, Elise also writes that, yes, I think they did know it was Judith. Cool. Hard Production writes, they had the same questions we have. Yeah. Okay, cool. I didn't see that Talking Dead episode, but I'm glad that they picked it up. Marko goes on to write, when I freeze frame the photo, it looks like a generic stick drawing of a face with long hair and a hat. It could be Carl or it could be either Carl or Judith. Yeah, but Carl did have long hair, but man, I looked at that still photo, and when I see it again, it looks like Judith, and I bet you they deliberately did it that way to confuse us, right?
Yeah,
Chaz?
exactly.
That's exactly something they would do to just have us questioning whether it's whether it's Judith or Carl. And if it's Judith, man, that opens up a whole can of worms right there. Eliza on Instagram writes, prediction, how much longer will the series last? Well, we also mentioned last night, Eliza, that the series is enjoying a resurgence in ratings. It was rated the number one drama on cable TV for the 2019-2020 year. It's the number 11 all-time drama according to Nielsen on television. So it's going to probably be around for a while. The ratings are going back up again, which is very unusual for a show that's in its 10th season. So we're at least going to have at least 2 more seasons of The Walking Dead. Now, whether they decide to cut it off right there because of the movies, so it doesn't screw up with the movies, we'll have to wait and see.
Go on forever. It will go on forever.
Yeah. Eliza also says they got to stop killing off all our peeps.
I know,
yes,
right?
Yes. Well, they kill off a whole bunch, but then we get introduced to a whole bunch of new characters.
Sure.
Saz, what do you think about the new group that we saw right after the time jump? Magna, Luke, Connie. What's your impression of them? Now that you've gotten to see them for a while.
Yeah, I mean, at first, I kind of guessed, obviously seen from the comics, I was like, oh, is this who I think it is? But I've really gotten attached to that group. Luke, love Luke. Connie, the whole Daryl Connie thing. I never said that can't really see Daryl with anyone, but, if it just happened to be Connie, I'd be okay with that. But yeah.
Me too. I think they make a cute couple.
Yeah. But then again, is that taking the mystery away from Daryl? I don't think Daryl will be the one to make the first move. Do you know what I mean? I think Daryl's kind of, don't know what to do kind of a thing.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, he's like the schoolboy who likes the girl, but doesn't have the nerve to tell her.
Yeah.
And they really gave it away how he really does feel about her in the premiere of this season when you see him on the docks and he has the sign language book in his back pocket.
Yes. Yeah.
So that shows him really going that extra distance to try to impress her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And learn sign language. How about Yumiko and Magna? What do you think about them?
I'm quite upset that they decided to go their separate ways. I really like them, but I kind of understand it that, you could see the tension and, they finally made the choice to kind of hopefully still stay friends. But I was so happy when I saw Magna come back. But the first thing my reply was, where's Connie? I love Magna, but where's Connie? Where is she? Has she made it out of the cave as well? But yeah, just the dynamic between Yumiko and Magna. I think they're always going to be friends, and who knows? You never know what's going to happen, but yeah.
Yeah. Magna, I sort of see Magna as like the female version of Daryl. In a way. Not all the way, just a little bit.
I see what you mean.
Mysterious, keeps to herself.
Yeah.
We know that she was in jail. Yumiko was her lawyer before the apocalypse. They fell in love. Magna encouraged Yumiko to go on the trip with Ezekiel and Eugene to meet Stephanie. We don't know what's going to happen with that. We met Princess. I have no idea. I know Connie is coming back to the show. I know she's not dead.
I hope so.
Do you think we're going to see her? Do you think we're going to see her in the finale, or we're not going to see her again till the next season?
I want to say finale because I'm impatient and I need to make sure everyone's okay. But again, with the finale, what we're expecting between sort of Beta attacking the group, I don't know if it would be lost. Do you know what I'm trying to say? If unless they made a point of bringing Connie back, but I don't want it to get lost within everything else that's hopefully going to happen in the finale.
Yeah, I love Connie. I love Connie and Kelly. We're that scene between Kelly and Carol in the car, where Carol apologizes for her stupidity in the cave that got them all trapped and got Magna and Connie trapped in there, and Kelly forgiving her. We got to see another side of Kelly. Before that, we just had like an exterior facade look at Kelly.
Yeah.
And we got to see that she is a forgiving person. She doesn't hold a grudge against Carol. And she basically, in that car, says that she has to believe that her sister is still alive until she's, finds out otherwise.
Yeah, exactly.
And, and Luke just brings in a very just comedic value to the group.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think Luke is great. He's funny. That scene with the, when Michonne kills the violin.
Oh, bless him. Yeah.
He was so upset. Hey, Gypsy Road, thank you for joining us. Gypsy Road is joining us on YouTube. I'm going to be joining Gypsy Road tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for joining us, Gypsy Road. We also have Steven Garza. Waving back at you, Steven. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to everybody for joining us. We're not ignoring you. We're looking at all the chats. Chats. IAMS42 is with us. Francelli is with us. So let's get started on tonight's base topic. Let's talk about Rick Grimes and, the moments that... Let me just adjust some windows here. I worded it like, when did Rick earn the loyalty of his group, okay? And I also said I believe it was different moments for each individual character on the show. And I'm just going to list off some bullet points, Saz. And, starting off with season 1, when it was Rick's idea to drench him and Glenn in the Walker guts to get the trucks, wasn't it?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, I think at that point, when it comes to Glenn, I think that moment, Glenn started to, see, okay, I think that's when Glenn started to realize that, okay, this guy has some good ideas. And do you remember, I love the scene where Glenn draws out the map when they're stuck in that shopping mall on how to go get the guns that Rick dropped outside. Do you remember the scene, Saz, when Daryl looks at him and asks him, what did you do before this? And Glenn responds with, delivered pizzas. Yeah. And they all look at each other because he came up with such an amazing plan. But that's like one bullet point right there, when it was Rick's idea to cut open the walkers and drench themselves in their blood just so they can get access to the truck. Now, the next moment that I can think of is season 2, the famous barn scene, when Sophia came out as a walker and everybody froze. Except for Carol, who had a breakdown. That's her daughter. But everybody else froze. They did not know what to do. Even Rick initially froze, seeing her come out of there as a walker. But he was the one that stepped up, and put her down. No one else took that initiative. We know that did not win Carol's trust, but just another thing that he did where he stepped up to the plate where no one else would. Okay? And it's just over the years, it's just been a lot of these little things that just really added up, to them looking to him for leadership. I mean, and then we have his bad moments as well. Like things he did where were sort of made him lose the trust of his group. The biggest thing is that he kept Jenner's secret from the CDC from them.
Yes.
Okay, that got them really upset, especially Carol at the end of season 2. That night in the season 2 finale was not a good night for Rick Grimes.
No.
When the farm got overrun and he had to kill Shane, and he had a bad night that night, and he told everybody Jenner's secret that we're all infected. No matter which way we die, we're gonna come back. So that's a moment. And then he also admitted to everyone that he killed Shane. So that right there, you would have to put in the negative column for Rick, as far as his leadership goes. You know what I mean? James on Instagram writes, they will make movies. He will not come back to The Walking Dead. That's right. Yep. Thank you, James, for answering that. James also says Rick initially took leadership after defeating Shane. Yeah, Shane hated the fact that Rick was taking over the group, had taken over the group. Shane was the kind of personality that he wanted to be the leader. And even though Rick was his supposed best friend, when he saw Rick get out of that truck in the camp, Shane at that moment realized that he's lost Lori, he's lost Carl, and he's also going to lose control of the group because he knows what Rick's all about, So Shane did not appreciate that at all. Sorry.
Kind of an awkward moment.
Goes on to write. Aliza also goes on to write, I think it took Terminus for Rick to believe in Carol, though she believed in him earlier. What do you think about that, Saz?
Yeah, I mean,
do you really think it took that long for Rick to believe in Carol?
Well, I think after kind of Rick sent Carol away, and then she kind of saved them all from Terminus. Yeah, I can see that Rick was kind of like, oh, okay, well, and especially if Daryl, another person that Rick trusted, immediately go and hug Carol, I think that was the time that Rick was like, okay, yeah, maybe let her back in and sort of go from there.
Exactly. I mean, I really do believe that Rick knew of, how far Carol had come as a survivor. And he also really understood why she did what she did in the prison by killing those people infected with the flu. But he had Tyrese on his ass to find out who did it. So he had to answer to Tyrese as well. But I think Rick did have a very good grasp of Carol being a huge asset to the group. And he had to make a tough choice in exiling her. Yeah. Which in the end, that decision ended up saving all their lives when she saved them from Terminus.
Thank God.
So Aliza, I would agree with your statement right there that it took Terminus for Rick to really believe in Carol, even though Carol believed in him earlier. So I can see your point there. Hey, Linda Swan, 595 on Instagram. Thank you for joining us. JB Hernandez waving back at you. Marco writes, explain your theory as to why Lori was so pissed about him taking Shane out as a walker. Marco writes, ask Saz, a woman's point of view on it. Which theory are you talking about? My theory as to why Lori was pissed about Rick taking Shane out as a walker, or Carl? Well, Carl is the one who took Shane out as a walker. And Marco basically wants me to ask you, Saz, what were your initial thoughts watching that episode with Carl holding the gun to what looked like Rick right after he killed Shane? Uh, did you really think that he might take a shot at his father?
Initially, I thought so because he was just fixated on what I thought was Rick. And I was like, really? No, they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not, maybe an unpopular opinion, I wasn't too much of a fan of Carl earlier, in the earlier seasons. It wasn't until really sort of 5 and 6 that I started to kind of sort of almost understand the character properly, if you know. But yeah, at that moment I was like, no, are they going to do that? Yeah. But then obviously Carla shot Shane, so
well, Rick believed it because Rick was like, you know, begging and pleading with him to not shoot him. Gypsy Road on YouTube writes, my favorite Rick scene wasn't the action scenes. It was when he was in the underground bunker and that worker in the bunker told him that are all already infected. That's right, in the CDC. That was the moment for me, exactly. That guy, they were in the CDC bunker, and that Dr. Jenner is when he revealed to Rick that they're all infected. And Rick decided to keep it a secret till the end of season 2, when he went out and told everyone else about it. You know what I mean? So, a lot of different moments there. Aliza writes that he had banished her before. Did Rick banish Carol before the prison?
Oh, I haven't watched the early seasons in a while. I don't know, actually.
I don't remember that. I think when Rick kicked her out of the prison, I think that was the first time that he had actually banished her. James goes on to write on Instagram, how do you, this Rick took the Glenn and the Abraham. How do you think Rick took the Glenn and the Abraham situation? I think is what James is trying to ask. He took it very badly. You know, Rick took Glenn and Abraham being killed in front of him. He took it very badly. I mean,
the snot bubble said it all.
Yeah, he wanted to kill Negan, you know, just like he told him that night, not today, not tomorrow, but I'm going to kill you. And, Negan was not having any of that. But, it took Carl dying and Carl writing those letters to make Rick spare Negan's life in the end. So... reading on, Marko goes on to write, I was opposite. I enjoyed him better when he was younger. So Marko enjoyed Carl more when he was younger. Yeah. Marko goes on to say he was too self-righteous as a teenager. You know, growing up when he did, who knows, you know, I think he did all right. Especially the circumstances where he grew up in. The world fell apart when he was 8 years old. So by the time he left the show, he was, a good 17 years old. And he probably doesn't even remember what the world was like before the apocalypse.
Yeah.
You know? Hey, Daryl Dixon, thank you for joining us. Let's see. James also on Instagram writes... Carl was a badass. When he got older, he literally snuck into the sanctuary and gunned down Negan's people from the back of a truck. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. And he was going after Negan, just like everybody wanted to go after Negan, but
no one could do it though.
No one can do it. Even Rosita, who had one bullet and one shot.
She was like,
by luck, she ended up shooting Lucille. She shoots Lucille instead of Negan. And Negan, I'll tell you what, Negan's had luck on his side for quite a while.
About 9 lives, I say.
Let's see what else is going on. Marko just confirms that Rick banished Carol when she killed Karen at the prison. Aliza is leaving us. Thank you for joining us, Aliza Jones71 on Instagram. Much love. Hope to see you again soon. Zambika37 writes, I had a real hard time liking Carl, but he made me change my mind towards the end of his life. Marko writes, good writing, laughing out loud. Yeah, Carl for me in the beginning was, I didn't hate him or like him. He was a kid.
Yeah.
He was a kid. And there was that whole period, after his mom died and in the prison when he shot that person in the woods while he was putting his weapon down. He was really confused. I mean, think of just how hard adolescence is for anybody, but to go through it the way teenagers in The Walking Dead go through it, it's crazy. I can't even imagine it. And he was growing up in this. And at the end of the day, by the time his time on The Walking Dead came to an end, I think he was a really good person. He had become a man.
Yeah.
And he knew he was dying. He wrote all those letters. And the stand that he took with Negan when he was standing on top of the Alexandria wall and he was talking to Negan, basically stalling for time to allow the others to get into the tunnel. And who was it that told... It was Michonne. Michonne told Carl that he is the future leader of Alexandria. Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember Michonne telling Carl that he is the future of Alexandria. And that night when, he knew he was bit and he took that stand against Negan to stall for time, even though it was his last night on Earth, he really stepped up and became a man that night.
Definitely.
In my mind, he really stepped up that night and became a man. Zambika writes, I mean, he still makes eating chocolate pudding out of a big can look good.
Oh, that's a mood. Yep. Definitely.
James writes, it's crazy how Negan was cooking spaghetti in Rick's house. Yeah. Well, that's exactly what Negan would do, because he was just being a jerk. Ty on Instagram writes, what was your reaction when you found out Gareth and the group from Terminus ate Bob's leg? Why don't you take that one, Saz? What was your reaction when you found out Gareth and the group from Terminus ate Bob's leg?
At first I was like, really? Like, okay, this is a different side of seeing different groups and how they are. Yeah, it was very strange. I just didn't really know how to react. It's more that shock factor of,
Yeah, for me, it just showed how sadistic Gareth was, And when he was on his knees, and even before when he told Rick that we weren't always like this, we were not always like this, until they got overrun at Terminus and they became who they became. It's still hard to explain how just, I guess Gareth, he was really evil, or he had become evil. Yeah. You know what I mean? He didn't care. He didn't see any value to human life whatsoever. To him and his group, human beings were food. They were food. You kept a small group together to, I guess, support each other, and that's what the Terminus people were. But every other human being to them was totally dispensable. They were just food. Yeah, and
didn't care.
I think one of the best words that I would use for Gareth would just be evil. I think he was just evil, flat out. Kimmy writes, they had a barbecue.
I like it.
A barbecue. That is awesome. James writes, do you think Michonne will find Rick because we haven't seen her yet in any of the movie trailers? Well, there isn't any movie trailers. What there is, James, is just a teaser, a CGI teaser of a helicopter or a bunch of helicopters flying towards the city. And that's been out for several months. There isn't any movie trailers for the movie. Me and Marko discussed this last night. Do I think Michonne is going to find Rick? I think Michonne is definitely going to find Rick in the third movie of the trilogy. Yeah. What do you think about that, Saz?
Yeah, I think definitely. But I'm curious how they're actually going to leave Rick's story. Is it going to be with Michonne and sort of happy family kind of thing? Or is Rick... would they kill him off as they've done in the comics kind of thing to end Rick Grimes' story? I hope it's a happy ending. Yeah. Of course. I love a happy ending. Well, but I don't know.
Yeah, me neither. And, the Walking Dead universe is going to continue even beyond the Rick Grimes movie.
Oh, yeah.
There's these persistent rumors of the Daryl Dixon movies. And when I say The Walking Dead, I'm not talking about Fear or World Beyond, plus all the other spin-offs that probably are coming. I'm talking in particular about The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, oh man, I would love to see Rick survive and ride off into the sunset with Michonne and Judith and RJ, his son.
That'd be lovely.
That he's never met.
No.
That he's never met. But I always tell my son, since before he started binge watching the show, just keep one thing in mind. There are no happy endings in The Walking Dead.
No, there's not, is there? You can never have a happy ending.
There are no happy endings in The Walking Dead. It will tear your heart out. So if we go by that alone, then I don't see Rick surviving when it all does come to an end after the third movie. And who knows, they may not even stop at a trilogy. The movies can be so hugely successful that they may decide to make more. We have no idea. It's not set in stone that they're just going to be 3 and only those 3 and nothing more. Yeah. We just don't know. Molten Martin gives us a big thumbs up. Hey Molten, thank you for joining us. James on Instagram writes, when I watched the episode to where Michonne left and seen the flashback of Rick standing by the fence, my heart was overjoyed with happiness until I realized it was a flashback. Yeah, they got you on that one. It was a flashback. T1RT writes, how does Rick die in the comic books? T1, Rick dies in the comic books. He gets shot during the Commonwealth thing. He gets shot in the very last issue of the comic books. And there's only several pages left after he gets shot. They do a time jump decades into the future. And Carl is, still alive. Carl is still alive to the end. He's one of the last ones standing. Him, Michonne. And Carl is sitting on a porch with his daughter, telling his daughter stories about her grandfather. And then they even do another time jump further to when Carl dies of old age. And, Carl marries Sophia in the comic books. Yeah, the same Sophia we lost in season 2 on the TV show. And the comic books end with Sophia and their daughter standing over Carl's grave. And he dies of natural causes. He lives a full life. Hard Productions writes, no, he was not shot. Sorry, he was shot in issue 192, and 193 is the last. Okay, well, thank you for correcting me on that, Hard Productions. So, Rick was shot in the issue right before the last issue in the comic books, and then they did the whole time jump thing into the future. So, let's see, Steven Garza writes, T-Dog was so underrated for me. He could have been in more scenes.
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, I miss T-Dog.
I miss T-Dog too, and I didn't really like his death too much. He went out a hero because he did sacrifice himself to save Carol.
Yeah.
But other than that, I saw his death as kind of senseless as well. So, Steven also says, just imagine Rick and Negan and Michonne working together. Yeah.
One big happy family.
Yeah. Also add Daryl and, Carol when she's not, immersed herself in vengeance over Alpha, towards Alpha, and she's thinking clearly. Yeah, put all those together, and then you've got a formidable group right there. Stephen writes that would be incredible. So, I mean, absolutely. James also goes on to write on Instagram, Carl grew up ready for the world that they lived in. He's seen so much, he even had to kill his own mother. Absolutely. Molten Martin writes, you like The Walking Dead very much in Spanish. Thank you. I mean, what am I? It's not my show. It's not my show, but thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us, Molten. I wish I could take credit for The Walking Dead, but I didn't create it. That's Robert Kirkman right there. So we only have a few minutes. I want to touch on a few more of these Rick, at least one more of these Rick moments that, basically led him as to define his leadership. And that is the night in Alexandria, Saz, when Carl got shot in the eye. And, that's when we lost Jesse, Sam, and Ron. Carl was shot. They rushed him into the infirmary, and Rick has had enough. And he just walks out there with his axe, and he just starts taking them out. And everybody was holed up in their house. Everybody had barricaded themselves in their house. Carol and Morgan were in the cell, in that basement. Everybody else was holed up in their own little house. Alexandria had become completely surrounded. But the point I'm trying to get to is that them seeing Rick come out by himself, not asking for help, by himself come out and start taking out those walkers, inspired all the Alexandrians for the first time to stand up and fight. And they won. They pushed them back. Daryl came in. Abraham came in. Abraham, Daryl, and Sasha came in. Daryl did the ultimate thing by lighting the lake on fire.
Yeah, that's nice.
The group managed to hack them back. They took back Alexandria. And not only was that a big leadership moment for Rick and the Alexandrians realizing that what Rick has been telling them all along is true.
Finally, they clicked
on how to survive. The light bulb went off in their head, and it finally clicked, and they finally understood. But it was also a big moment for Rick, seeing that the Alexandrians are worthy of saving. They can be assets. They can help the group, and so on. So that's one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah.
That night was just amazing. And guys, these hours just flew by. We are out of time. Saz, thank you so much for joining us. You are an asset to our show. Thank you so much for co-hosting tonight's episode with me. You are amazing.
Thank you for
I love the Negan backdrop. I love the Daryl pillows. I know you guys have so much questions coming in, but we're really out of time. Instagram is about to cut us off. We're on every night at 9:30 p.m. To everyone, thank you so much. And you know what, Saz? I want you to say our tagline tonight. So I want you to say it. Ready? Let's say it together on 3 before I roll the end credits. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Stay walking.
Stay walking, guy.